Democrats. And today we have a very special show for you that is coming to you in collaboration of those two organizations. I have with me Mr. Curt Rosenberg, who is with Witness to Innocence, an organization based out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we're going to talk about not only what his organization does and who he is, but then also what the implications of that work may be on the Nebraska abolition movement. So Curt, thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, my first question is for our viewers, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into abolition work?
Sure. I've been working against the death penalty for about 15 years, even more than that actually, for various organizations. And I got into it because I've always been passionately opposed to the death penalty. I've always thought it was wrong, and it was something I pursued and have stuck with, and hopefully will stick with until we no longer have the death penalty in this country.
Well, Curt, I think in Nebraska, the death penalty is one of those issues that is not a daily issue for people. You said that after being opposed to the death penalty, that you got involved 15 years ago. What was it that actually caused you to want to work against the death penalty?
Well, I think that there's nothing more immoral or more egregious than our government taking the life of a citizen. And I can't think of any more urgent and pressing issue for anyone who wants to be an activist to work on, even though for most people the death penalty is not a big issue. As you said, it doesn't touch most people's lives directly, but from a broader perspective, I think that any government that is allowed to kill its own citizens has a serious problem on its hands.
Could you tell us a little bit about Witness to Innocence?
Sure. We are a national organization composed of exonerated former death row prisoners and their loved ones. We were formed in 2005, and we have really two goals. One is to help end the death penalty in the United States through the voices of those who have been exonerated from death row, through their stories. And we have a speakers bureau of anywhere from 10 to 15 people who have been exonerated from death row, and we send them around the country to speak and tell the public and put a human face on the issue. And we are also working, as in Nebraska and several other states that are close to ending the death penalty, we hope, working on specific campaigns from a legislative perspective. And the other piece, second kind of big facet of what we do, is to provide support for the death row exonerees and their family members, and we do this in a number of ways. We have several gatherings each year where we bring folks in from all over the country to meet with each other, provide mutual support, and really create a community. And it's, as I often say, a very unique fraternity of people who belong to this organization.
Do you have any sense of the number of people, either nationally or in your own state, who have been exonerated from death row?
According to the Death Penalty Information Center, which is the official record keeper from our point of view, 130 people have been exonerated from death row since 1973. And that really is, in my opinion, conservative in terms of both the number of innocent people who have been sentenced to death because other people have been freed who aren't considered officially exonerated. In other words, they took a plea bargain, so they're not eligible for the official list. So there's sort of a second tier of people and a third tier. And then, of course, there's 3,300 people on death row, approximately, in the United States today. We don't know how many of those people are innocent. I would guess probably 10%. So several hundred more on death row across the country who are likely to be innocent. And then, the ultimate question is how many have been executed who were innocent. And I think it would be naive to believe that no one has been executed who was innocent.
Well, here in Nebraska, we just had a situation in the last couple of months where the Beatrice 6, as they're known, there was a situation related to a murder, and we've had some people that were exonerated due to DNA evidence. And I guess this is the worst case scenario when people talk about why they would be against the death penalty, and that being that, you know, you or I could be walking down the street and literally be snatched up because somebody had alleged that we had murdered somebody or some other crime, and due to several different scenarios that may exist, we may not be able to have proper legal representation or anything to protect ourselves, and then we end up on death row. What kind of stories do you hear? I'm sure you have a wealth of relationships with people in your organization. Are there any stories that strike you as particularly relevant?
To Nebraska per se, or in general?
Just maybe in your career, in your 15-year career, the things that sort of stick with you, and when you're searching for your motivation to continue on, things that come up in your mind.
Just developing a relationship with these individuals, and I can't really single any of them out, but just the idea that these are human beings, which I think is lost in all of the emotion and rhetoric that surrounds the death penalty. The death penalty is an abstraction for most people. It's a concept that they don't really grasp. It's motivated, again, by emotions and fear, and people's perspectives are just not based on the reality that we're putting human beings to death. And in some cases, and in a situation in which I work, we're talking about innocent human life that's potentially being extinguished. So I would say it's the relationships with these people that I've developed over the years, takes it much more into the realm of just much more genuine and reality, as opposed to death penalty being some abstraction or statistics, and that's for me the most compelling part of what I do.